everyone. I just wanted to jump on today and talk about something that we talked about in one of our coaching sessions today. And it was around burnout in the accounting space and what's really causing the burnout. Because, like many of you, I learned all the technical skills to become an accountant, but what I didn't really understand was all the soft skills. And I didn't understand all the soft skills even when hiring a team because it was like how they need to know like all the tax stuff, all of the accounting stuff, all the stuff. But at the end of the day, that stuff can be taught, but what can't be taught is actually how to be a good person, have the right personality, have the right characteristics of the personality that I need. Because you see, what causes overwhelm in firms is when all the puzzle pieces aren't put together. That's what makes a team. So, because many of you hire the same person just like yourself. And I'm going to give an example of something that happened to me in retail management. And if you'll just hang on with me, I think you'll understand where I'm going in a minute. So, what I was sharing with some of my coaching clients was that when I used to be, I went to work for Hobby Lobby as a co-manager, which means an assistant manager of a Hobby Lobby store. And it was it was about 50 miles from where I actually live. So I had to drive back and forth every day. But the manager I worked for, the very first day, I had no experience with Hobby Lobby other than shopping, but I had experience in retail management. But so what the very first day, he told me, this is what I expect, and this is what you own. So he went through and gave me all the information that I needed to be successful. This was day one. And he's like, on Tuesdays, we unload the truck. On Wednesdays, we do this. On Thursdays, we do this. And that was day one. And he goes, and I always expect, number one, the store to be extremely clean. That means not freight all over the floor with the exception of truck day. But by the end of truck day, it is to be all off the floor. That's an expectation. Then on Wednesdays and then Tuesdays, my back room is clean. All this stuff is organized that needs to be unpacked. So for those of you that shop Hobby Lobby, that would mean like all the seasonal stuff, all of the home accent type things, that would get unpacked on the day after the truck came in. And then on Wednesday, Home Accents would take their stuff and go put it out. And seasonal, we did the same thing. So what happened was he would use all the department people to unload the truck, put everything out. Then on Wednesdays, he would use all the department people and put everything, unpack everything, because it all comes in styrofoam and all kinds of boxes. We would unpack everything so Home Accents could do their part, seasonal could do their part. And you see how we work together. By Thursday, all freight was done, no matter what came in. And the key is, he's like, I expect my back room to be clean at all times, no matter what. That's your job, to make sure that happens. And your job is also to make sure on Tuesday nights when you close, all freight is done before you let anybody go home. And when you close, this store is to be immaculate for the next day. It doesn't matter. That's the expectation. So he gave me the information, he gave me permission, and he expected me to own the outcome. So fast forward to about 9 months later, where I locally lived, the store manager got moved, or the co-manager got moved. So there was an opening here. Well, they kept putting me there back and forth. And 1 week I would have whiplash between two different types of managers. So I had the one that gave me information, permission, and I own the outcome, to this one who had to give me everything. I had to ask questions all day long. Well, when I would work for her, she wouldn't be there. So she had trained her team to ask questions all day long. So therefore, what did I do all day long? I answered questions all day long. So you relate this to the accounting profession. That's what many of you are doing, is you are acting like that store manager at Hobby Lobby, that her back room was always a mess. Her sales floor was always a mess because she had a different way of managing it, because nobody knew the expectation. And while I tried to implement some of the stuff I learned from this manager, she wouldn't do it because she wasn't open to change. She was open to the same way things have always been. So there was always freight all over the floor. There was always a mess in the back room. People didn't own their roles. So they had very much of like, that's not mine. I'm not touching it. This is what happens in our firms as well. But looking back on it, I can see the 180 between the two. So what's going on in your firm? For those of you that have teams, are you the manager that gives all the information, they own the outcome, and they give them permission? Are you the manager that has to be involved with everything? And if so, that's why you're tired, because all you're doing is answering questions all day long. So I urge you to look at why you're doing that. And many times it's because of trust, because we don't think that people will do a good job. But most people that we hire do want to do a good job. But when we keep taking it back and taking it away, that's what causes them to actually do the thing. And so they just keep doing it over and over. And that was the same way with her and with the department managers. She would literally have to show them how to work in a new item, or how to rework a shelf, or rework everything, or if the coloring was off or whatever, because we didn't have schematics that showed us where stuff went. We had to learn. And seasonal went light to dark. Well, sometimes you have this variation. Where does that go? The manager over here would say, just get it on the shelf and sell it and put the same colors together. This one be over here would analyze it to death. And so if you think about it from a professional standpoint, are you the one that's analyzing it to death instead of letting the team own that outcome? And if not, why? And a lot of times it's because we don't know how to communicate. And I've been talking a lot about communication in teams today, because if you want to ever move your business and where you can not be drowning, paralyzed, overwhelmed, how are you going to be able to do that if you keep doing the same thing that you've always done? And I hear a lot of times people will say, well, I'll do it after tax season. I'll do it after summer vacation. I'll do it after this, after this. But the thing is, you never do it. And so you can't get different results when you never do it. And many of you will say, I don't, I'm afraid I can't afford to get help. But if you never actually have the conversation, how do you know? And how do you make it a priority? You have to make it a priority if that's what you want. So many clients, when they come to me and they say, hey, I need help, it's because they've drawn the line in the sand that says no more, which starts with a decision. And many of you will not make the decision that you want something different. And something different may be working 20 hours a week. It may be being able to just be able to take unplugged time off with your family and not have to worry about your business burning down. But you have to figure out what it is that you want. But many of you are afraid to even ask for what you want or say what you want. And you can say, well, I don't know. I just want to make it through. Okay, if that's what you want, then that's what you want. But at the end of the day, something's going to happen to make you draw that line in the sand. But a lot of times we won't even give ourselves permission to draw that line in the sand. So I want to urge you to think about, what type of manager do you want to be? So when I pose this scenario to my coaching clients on Monday, I'm like, what kind of manager do you want to be? So let's start figuring out what kind of manager you are. And most of them were far to the right or to my right. And then of I've got to answer every question, but I want to be that one that gives all the information, gives them permission, and owns the outcome. That's the one I want. I figured this out a long time ago. That's what we help you do, is to figure that out. But until you figure out what you want, it's really hard to make a shift. So I urge you to spend some time with us today. And if you can't do it today, spend some time with it this weekend. What is it that you want? And dig deep. What is it you want? Because for some of you, it's just to be able to spend more time with my kids. And that's okay. Because you know what? That's what this world's about, because your kids aren't a distraction. Some of you want to spend more time for yourself. Even if you have kids, that's not selfish, because you need that time to recharge and refresh. There's many of you that are going with your family, and your business is just stopped and you're literally paralyzed. But what would it feel like if you weren't paralyzed? When was the last time you actually felt joy? And there's no harm in asking for help, even if you don't think you can afford it. There's no harm in it, because you know what? I don't care. I don't care if somebody sends me a DM, hey, what do you think about this? I will answer it every time, because my goal is to add value to people, whether they're paying me or not. But so many of you are afraid to put your hand out and say, I need help. Now, can I work for free? Not necessarily. But at the same time, don't be afraid to ask. So if anything I'm saying to you resonates with you, can you let me know in the comments? Because when I do these lives, it is a lot like crickets. And I don't know if what I'm saying is making sense or not making sense. If you could please let me know, because I want to put out stuff that's relatable and stuff where you can feel heard. Because a lot of what I'm saying is stuff that I'm hearing, I have felt, and I'm hearing. So I want you to be open and honest about it. So I want you to think about it. What is it you want? And drop that in the comments of this video of what it is you want. Because whenever you have something that you want and you say it and you mean it and you drop it somewhere, it stays here. So tell me, what is it that you want? So I hope this video was helpful. I know I kind of went off on like 3 different things here, because this was just what was on my heart today to say. And so as you can tell, this wasn't scripted or anything. It was just how I felt today and what I felt I needed to share, because I know there's so many of you that are feeling this. So I hope to talk to you soon. Feel free to DM me or comment anything below. But most importantly, think about what it is that you want. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you soon.